look at celebrity feuds, I never really understand how certain people don't understand why certain celebrities don't want to mix with them. You know, I've told you before about when you go to see red carpet events, and celebrities are the most insecure people you can find, you know. Oh yes, they sort of want to stand around together, and then the minute they see somebody from another soap opera or another drama or a newsreader, journalist, or they just want to club, you know, they're sort of, oh please, you know, let's stand together because we're all in this game, aren't we? But they're not friends. Most of them are 100% rivals, and evil rivals at that. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I remember interviewing Madonna many years ago now, and she said whenever she was planning a comeback, she checked the charts to see who exactly she was doing a big battle with to get back into the charts, because they were younger, slimmer, prettier. At least she got the grip of it. But Madonna is rather unique at playing that particular game. Now, over in Montecito, one might say that Meghan Markle is not a diva that forgives easily. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for your time today. Lovely to have your company. Hope you're all keeping well, whatever you're doing. And thank you, by the way, for your lovely comments regarding His Majesty the King and, of course, the findings of those two particular MPs, members of Parliament, and what he should do next to protect our once great land. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, there's a big debate going on that particular video. So if you want to have a look, as ever, it's all free, it's all there. Lots of people do not believe that His Majesty the King is doing enough to protect where we're at, right? That's the, you know, the bigger question, and that's the feeling on the street you get. And as you can imagine, walking up and down and seeing people, and they know what you do, they tell you that, so they're very, very vocal. I think it's good to get these sort of things out there, because maybe somebody at the palace might say, you know what, sir, you really need to address this. And hopefully that will be rather sooner than later. It's a little bit like this. Now, as you know, Meghan is back with her cooking show, and the special's coming up within a matter of weeks now. And Meghan likes the soundtracks. Have you noticed? It's always like the vinyl soundtracks of an era. And suddenly, you know, you're zipping along and it's all fun and funky stuff and all that. But of course, you know, Meghan thought that she could get like a playlist together and maybe sell it out as an album via Spotify. I told you that was the idea, right? But really, the big things that she wanted was the big names. And one of the biggest names that she truly wanted was none other than this, the American superstar singer, that is Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor, as you know, not everybody's cup of tea. I think she's a talented girl, and anybody that can become a billionaire at such a young age, hats off, right? I mean, that's what I look at. You know, she's done well, and, you know, she's incredibly popular with so many people. It's a sort of, I think it's a, you know, whatever, generational thing, isn't it? You know, like we talked about Connie Francis a few weeks back, you know, people will talk about Taylor Swift in the same way. It's all about what you like when you're growing up. But there's a big problem behind the scenes, you see, because Meghan decided that this was another way of reaching out to Taylor Swift. As you know, Taylor decided very wisely, some people might suggest, not to appear on Meghan Markle's infamous podcast, the initial one for Spotify, and then the follow-up, of course, for, what is it, Female Flounders? I've forgotten now, Lemonade or something like that. But anyway, that was the idea, right? That, you know, she really wanted this big name on. And then, you know, she didn't want to appear at the Invictus Games because she was touring and all that sort of stuff. It seemed that it was snub after snub. However, Taylor is a busy girl and has now got a brand new album out, of course. I think it's called The Life of a Showgirl. Looks exciting, nice cover, yeah? But what's interesting here is, you see, Meghan and her team have not given up in their quest somehow to get some connection to Meghan Markle, right? And the idea really was that basically, you know, her big hit, Shake It Off, which was a huge, colossal hit, I think about 10 years ago now. Well, the team being Meghan, right, and the idea being Meghan, reached out to basically say, could they use this as incidental music in the show? And where again it gets interesting is you need full clearance, right? You can't just use the music, you have to ask in television shows. And basically the artist either says yes or no. Well, they kept pushing and pushing, and then they submitted the idea, and the idea really was that they were all going to be making this salad, and the idea is to dry it, shake it off, right? And that was where they were going to have a fun little piece miming to the song, her and a few of her friends in the rented kitchen, right? You get the picture. Nothing. Not a word back, no. And apparently even Meghan threatened to get out the calligraphy pen in order to write one of those lengthy submissive letters basically saying, is it possible, we're all great fans? But in the end, they had to move on because of the speed of the production. When you think about it, whatever you might think about Meghan Markle, she never stops wanting to try, right? So consequently, as you can also imagine, Taylor Swift is now being shaken off, literally for good, by the former one known as Meghan Markle. Now, I don't know about you, but does that sort of raise your interest in Taylor Swift a little bit more? Neil Shaw, Kensington, London.